My sister's got hay fever. Now she's got diabetes, so I tried to cheer her up, you know, flowers, chocolates. About a month before he died, my grandfather recovered his back with lard. After that, he went downhill very quickly. Recently had bird flu, but it's all relative, isn't it? You know, if I had rabies and you offered me bird flu, I'd bite your hand off. Last summer, I set up a clinic for colonic irrigation, but the hosepipe ban hit us hard. Very much for you.
And the topic is family. Stuart.
Before I rock the microphone, I want to dedicate my performance to my father, who was a roofer. So, Dad, if you're up there. I'll tell you about my family. I'm the youngest of three. My parents are both older, and I have mixed-race parents. My father prefers the 100 meters, and my mother's Pakistani. I was raised by my father. My mother left before I was born. And, you know, I like being raised by my father. He's schizophrenic, but he's good people. I remember one summer I was 5 and he was Mussolini. Went to the park that day. I love parks. Standing in the park today wondering, why does a Frisbee appear larger the closer it gets? And then it hit me. My uncle's a hypnotist who has never inappropriately touched me. I have to leave now. I'm a member of Overactors Anonymous, and we have an Overactors Anonymous meeting that starts in...
And the topic is travel.
I've just come back from Australia. While I was there, I learnt some Aboriginal words like boo, which means to return, because when you throw an ordinary meringue, I didn't think much of the film on the plane coming back from Australia. It turned out to be a 24-hour animation of a plane travelling from Sydney to London. Whatever you do, don't go and see Time to Destination. Italians, slanty little eyes. Sorry, italics. Just come back from Dartmoor, where I spent 3 days shooting at life-size models of Sarah Ferguson and Princess Diana. Got nothing against them myself, it's just they made it part of the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme. I've just come back from Russia. Always wanted to go out with a Russian girl, because in my experience, inside every Russian woman, there's another Russian woman.
The topic is school.
You are looking at a very proud Canadian who's very proud of the education system in Canada. No, I was horrible in school. I failed math so many times I can't even count. I preferred French over chemistry because the chemistry teacher and I just didn't have any, Rapport. One teacher said I'd be a better student if I spent less time flirting. I immediately jumped off his lap. One teacher used to always say I wasn't very observant, but you know what? That was his or her opinion. I was going to join the debating team, but someone talked me out of it. In high school, I was voted most likely to reminisce.
And the topic is nationality.
If you're addicted to meths, you're either an alcoholic or a South African with a real love of numbers. I've got a friend who got caught shoplifting in Saudi Arabia. Fortunately, he'd stolen a prosthetic hand. Unfortunately, it was a second offence. So I'm in France, and I saw this little old lady knitting in the town square. I said, "Voulez-vous crochet avec moi?" I used to teach English in Germany. First day, I taught them everything beginning with A. Second day, everything beginning with B. D-Day was a bit tricky. So I'm in a disco in Tehran. All these women dancing around a handbag singing Iranian Men, Hallelujah. Recently, I phoned up the spiritual leader of Tibet. He sent me a large goat with a long neck. Turns out I'd phoned Dalai Lama.
And it's relationships.
I like my women the way I like my coffee, picked by migrant workers. No, I've got a girlfriend. I've been going out with my girlfriend for... sex? My girlfriend actually thinks I'm incapable of being faithful. My wife, on the other hand, hates that joke. And I'm not ashamed of my wife. If you don't believe me, go to the car and ask her. Ask her loud. She's in the boot. Is my wife dissatisfied with my body? A tiny part of me says yes. I was previously married. I married way too young. A Chinese girl, that's her name. I remember... Way too young was so beautiful. Fab Cook, too. That was her cousin. She was hot, too. It was a good-looking family. It's thought that most men's sexual fantasy is to be involved in a threesome, and I thought it was mine until recently. I was involved in a threesome. And I'll be honest with you, my friends, I didn't like it. Halfway through, I stopped and said, "Listen, Rick, Jim."
The subject is relatives.
The scariest thing that ever happened to me in my entire life was when I was very little. My dad said, "I'm just going to pop upstairs." And he went upstairs, and he popped. I didn't speak to my dad. Well, he was a bus driver. You're not allowed to. My brother, he's allergic to cheese, not the taste. Just if anyone says the word, he goes, "Boo." Doesn't happen very often, but we've got some weird family photos. My grandfather, he was a GI, and he was in the RAF. OK, he was a giraffe. During the war, when board games were illegal, he was put in prison for being a Yahtzee sympathizer. My uncle, he was a security guard at the O2 Arena.
The subject is marriage. Who wants to come into that? Stewart.
I'm not married. If I was married, would I be able to do this? for that long. I am married. My wife and I met at a castanet class where we clicked. That's not entirely funny. No, we actually met in a museum, and the rest is history. 14 more. No, we actually met at a driving range where we hit it off. Can't be true. No, we actually met in a library. That's novel. Ooh. No, actually, Wayne Rooney introduced us. It was a no-brainer. I'm only kidding. I'm not married. I am married. That's why I'm wearing the ring. Oh, no. It must have fallen off in that hooker. Anybody who's married knows what I'm talking about when I say this, that you really find out about someone after you marry them. Like, for example, my wife doesn't have a peanut allergy. No, it turns out she has a penis. That's it, she has a penis.
Transport is the topic.
So I've got my own private jet. The rest of the jacuzzi belongs to my mum. If you've got a sat-nav, don't put the name of the company you're visiting into it. I tried to take some mayonnaise back the other day. I ended up in Helmand Province. I mean, I've got a car, but there's nothing I like better than making a bonfire on the passenger seat. Driving up and down, opening and shutting the electric sunroof and pretending to be a steam train. My uncle, he was a taxi driver, but then one day he left home without any indication. So recently, I was fell walking in the Lake District. Well, it's not quite true. Recently, I fell walking in the Lake District. I was going to tell someone, but the pillar box was full of sugar puffs.
Topic is jobs.
Ever since my best friend became a mime, I haven't heard from him. Still has my leotard. At first, I didn't believe my father stole from his job as a lollipop man, but all the signs were there. I used to be a panto horse, but I quit while I was ahead. I worked in produce, which wasn't exactly rocket salad. I used to sell dining room chairs under the table. I worked in China repairing typewriters. I didn't like the job, but I met lots of characters. I worked in a sweatshop. It was so-so. I started a VD clinic from scratch. My topic is jobs. My work is over.
And the topic is Parenthood. Away you go, Milton.
I went back to my parents' house the other day, looked into my neighbour's garden where I used to steal apples as a toddler. They didn't mind me stealing apples. It was dressing up as a toddler they thought was good. I come from a family of auctioneers. There's my mum, my dad, my Uncle Philip, Auntie Eileen, my dying grandfather, going. I said to my dad, I keep making mistakes. He said, you're talking to the wrong person. I said, oh, no, not again. He said, well, it wasn't as bad as that Uber driver I had the other day. He fell asleep. So Calvin Klein's mum has labelled everyone else's pants. When my daughter was born, she had jaundice, so there she was, small, round, and yellow. We called her Melanie. Apparently, I didn't even turn up to one of my own children's christenings, according to one of them, who shall remain nameless.
And the topic is family.
I heard that my sister's into bestiality. I'll be a monkey's uncle. Through no fault of his own, my uncle crashed his car into a lemon tree. He's still bitter and twisted. My other uncle, who's missing an arm, hates the way I mock him. Doesn't like when I show off. My older brother's an expert on erectile dysfunction. He's now semi-retired. I don't like the way my kids are always quick to blame other people. They get that from their mom. I get my tendency to gouge from my mom. I got my father's eyes. When I first heard that my real parents were budgies, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror.
Thank you very much, well done. And the topic is shopping.
Those reward cards are rubbish, aren't they? Got too many points on one of them, and now I'm not allowed to drive. It's really important if you buy something, of course, to read all the instructions. I don't know if you've ever tried to fill a baboon with helium. Prit is not the best lip salve I've ever used. I couldn't complain. Southern Comfort tastes nice. Ordinary Comfort tastes like fabric softener. But at least your burps smell of summer meadows. When I was in America, I really got into the culture, so I went into a shop and the guy said, "Have a nice day," and I didn't, so I sued him.
It's romance.
That was terrific, by the way, Adam.
Oh, thank you, Stewart.
You're welcome. Ladies, in bed, I like to spoon. Anybody else do heroin? Am I guilty of being romantic? You be the judge. A bottle of champagne on ice, the dulcet voice of Luther Vandross fills the air. A trail of rose petals lead to a bed on which I'm lying naked. Bedroom door slowly opens and I whisper those three special words. Happy birthday, Dad. When women see me naked, they say I look like a Greek god. Hermaphrodite? What's he, what's he doing? I like my women the way I like my skis, rented. With a little wax on their bottom. I'm a very lucky man. I have an amazing wife who has given me 3 incredible blowjobs. Romance.
Thank you very much. The topic is communication.
Not a good day today. No one turned up to the first meeting of my sarcasm club, despite loads of people saying how much they were looking forward to it. Do you ever do that thing when you're on the phone?
You put it down.
No, you put it down.
No, you put it down.
Listen, you're a qualified vet and it's an old dog. Do you know, it was so cold the other day in the city of Chester, when I ordered a taxi, I ended up in Chichester. The only bright point of the journey was seeing a car going the other way with a seatbelt round a kebab. My wife and I, we argue sometimes.
You've left the lid up, you've left the lid up.
Yes, but what if it's a man, the next person to use the toilet?
It's a pedal bin, it's a pedal bin.
It was her birthday recently. I took her to an orchard in Somerset. We stood for about 20 minutes. Not the Apple Watch she wanted.